Welcome back to Cosmoholics Anonymous. I am your favorite mother of three, Bougie Vintage, and today's video is a story time. I want to take y'all back to my first credit card ever, okay? And I want to talk about the white lady that changed my life forever, okay? Now, there's two white women that had changed my life forever. One good, one bad. But we're here to talk about the good witch, okay? Glenda. So, let's get right on into this video. Okay, so everybody knows that as soon as you turn 18, they is sniffing you out in the hallway of the mall. They're sniffing you out, trying to figure out if you want a credit card or not. Okay, they are standing there posted up. They got the PC people, they got the people from TD, they got the people from Scotiabank, they got the people from all around, okay, asking you if you want to get a credit card. The student credit card, okay? Now the student credit card is great, okay? It's like almost no interest on there, okay? Because they already know these kids is not gonna pay this bill. And that's how they get you. It's like they can just sense that you are of age. Like they just look at you and ask you if you want a credit card. And so, you know, sometimes obviously it's gonna be hit and miss, because they could ask you and then you're like, oh, I'm only 17, am I allowed to get one? They could be like, no, not you. I was 18, I was fresh out of high school. Actually, I think I might have still been in high school. I can't remember, but I was walking through the mall, probably after or during one of my garage shifts. I was going to the bank at the time. I was with TD, and they saw me and they approached me and they asked me if I would like a credit card. Now, my 18-year-old self was like, yes, I want a credit card. Free money! Girl, it's not free money. You have to pay it back. Because I had a job and I was always going out on the weekend and I am a shopper. Okay, I love me some clothes. Look at the fashions, look at the duds. Okay, you know I love me some clothes. So I was thinking, oh, I can put my clothes on my credit card instead of using my paycheck. Girl, I don't know what kind of girl math that was, but that was the math I was doing. So I was thinking I could use my credit card for those things, and like I had an extra set of money. Now the student card, they're only going to give you about $500, but $500 to an 18-year-old is a lot of money, especially in whatever year they gave it to me in. Girl, what was that, 2011, 2010? Girl, I don't know. Okay, whenever I was 18, that's what it was. They spot me in the mall. They asked me if I want a credit card. I'm like, hell yes. They bring me into the bank. And so I ended up getting a credit card at the same bank that I banked with. It was very easy to get the credit card. I think they actually give you on the spot the credit card without your name on it, of course. They give you a temporary credit card so you can start shopping your little heart out right away, okay? You are so tempted. If you watch the episode of Proud Family when Steve Harvey was there, credit card, that was me. That was my life, okay? And if I was paying attention back then, I would have thought about that episode where Penny got the damn credit card and ran it up. But I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about these clothes from Forever 21. That's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about I'm going out on the weekend and I need to be able to buy me a drink or two. Okay, that's what I was thinking about. I was not thinking about no Penny Proud, no Steve Harvey. I wasn't thinking about nothing. I sign up, I get my temporary card, and I start living La Vida Loca right away, okay? Now, because I had a job, I was like, okay, I'm going to use it and pay it and use it and pay it. And then somebody made the suggestion to me, which was a lie from the pit of hell. They were like, you're going to use the money anyway, so why don't you like just be like putting your whole paycheck on to the credit card. However, the credit card was more than my paycheck. That was the first mistake, okay? If the credit card is more than your paycheck, which it's probably going to be more than your paycheck, because at that time I was just working part-time. I had no full-time work, and I might have gotten $300, $400 on a good day. I don't think my paychecks at Garage ever touched $500, okay? I'm not gonna hold you, and unless it was like a winter month and like they kept calling me in or I kept covering shifts. Holiday season, like at that point, yeah, my check's gonna be a little bit more, but I was never even seeing $500. So the credit card really was like gold to me. Since I wasn't making as much as the credit card, I kind of knew that I should probably not spend more than my paycheck, but I also figured I'm going to spend the money anyway. And at the time, I didn't have any bills. I was living with my mama. Like, life was good. Life was easy. You feel me? So, like, I wasn't going to, like, not spend the money. You know, I just had to spend the money. If you've seen Confessions of a Shopaholic, shout out to you. Okay, that was me in a nutshell. But anyway, I was I was certainly messing up the check, okay? Ka-ching, 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 ka-ching! Like, the money. Like I said, I started shopping right away. And then, fast forward, my actual card with my name on it, shiny and new, shows up in the mail. My mom goes to check the mailbox, and I know I've told this part of the story before. She's like, you got a credit card? That's all she said, baby. She didn't give me no instructions. Had she given me some instructions, I probably wouldn't have dug myself into the hole that I dug it in, or dug my butt in. So, because my mama didn't say anything but, you got a credit card? And I was just like, yeah. I wasn't like, so what's up with it? Like, I didn't ask her no further questions, Your Honor, because I wasn't sure what to ask her. It was very much giving when we were younger and we didn't get the birds and the bees. We just got, don't you bring yourself in here pregnant, because I'm going to kill you. Right? Like, that's what we got. So the credit card was the same thing, but I don't think my mom at the time realized that she should probably be educating us on credit. Because if you see your child got a credit card and you see your child likes to shop, you should probably tell them, girl, this is how you use your credit card now. Especially because, you know, she had her, obviously, experience with credit and all those things because she was a grown woman, right? She been had her experiences. So, you know, she should have said something, girl. But she left me out to dry. Okay? So, that's all she said. She's like, you got a credit card? And I was like, yeah, and that was the end of the conversation. There was no other conversation to be had, girl. But the tone in which she said it let me know I should have probably dug a little deeper. I should have been like, Mom, why did you ask me in that tone? Why did you say it like that? You got me worried, girl. But like, I didn't care, baby. Like I said, Forever 21 was calling my name. I get the credit card and I'm spending, girl. I'm spending and I'm paying and I'm spending and I'm paying. And so pretty much I never really maxed the card until I fell on some hard times. And then I maxed the card. And then I must have been in between jobs and couldn't really pay the card, but like the minimum payment on that $500 card was real low. Like, I'm talking $10, okay, especially because there's no interest. Like, it was really low. So I would come across some money somehow, some way, girl, and I would pay the minimum payment. But what they don't tell you about credit, even if you have a low interest card, is the minimum payment is a waste of your time. You need to at least be doubling, tripling, quadrupling that minimum payment. Paying the minimum payment on your credit card is actually stupid. Okay, the minimum payment is there just to be there, girl. She's just there to look cute, and that's it. So that's advice number 2 in this video. Do not pay the minimum payment. Pay more than the minimum payment, girl. Pay what you can, but pay more than the minimum payment, especially if you are just starting out with the credit card, okay? This video is for educational purposes only. Thank you. So, like I said, following her times, I ended up maxing the card. So now the card is at $500, okay? And what do? I get a job, and I end up fixing the credit card, right? Because, baby, one thing about a tourist, we is never going to be jobless, okay? We are never going to be jobless. We're going to find work, okay? So I got another job, and I was able to put some money on the credit card. So the credit card wasn't maxed, but I knew at this point, don't be using it because you don't want to be in a little bit of a rut. And I'm not into borrowing money. Like, I was never going to go to my mom and be like, Mom, my credit card, because I could tell in the tone of her voice when she said, you got a credit card, that something was not right in the water. And I probably had no business getting a credit card. Take a shot every time I say credit card, girl. Y'all gonna be drunk. Okay, anyway, so I get a job again, you know. I put some money on the credit card, and I kind of just let it sit there in case of emergencies. At this point, I haven't learned my lesson because I'm still going to end up maxing the card again. But I know a little bit better that I don't want to be in that position again. So I make sure there's always some money on it, and I'm always making my at least minimum payment so that it doesn't end up in collection, because that's what you don't want. Okay, as long as you're paying on it, it's not going to go to collection. So don't miss do not miss a payment, okay? Baby, I don't care if you have to dig up your couch to find the coins to go deposit at the bank, to pay the damn credit card, girl. Do not miss a payment, okay? You don't want to be in the delinquent area. So boom, now I have 2 things revolving on my credit, because what they also don't tell you when you're getting your first cell phone, which I definitely went to go purchase, like as soon as you get a job, you're like, oh, I'm independent, I can get this, that, and the third. Next time I buy a car, but I ain't got no license. Okay, so I had now a cell phone from Fido, And I had this credit card from TD, a Visa from TD. My Fido BlackBerry was also revolving on my credit. So if you make your payments every month, then you know you're going to have good standing credit, right? And so at 18, I'm one of the very fortunate black children that my mama didn't take my social and get credit or put house phone or whatever in my name because her credit was shot or anything like that. She had good credit, okay? So she didn't do that to me. So when I started getting stuff on my credit bureau statement, whatever, that was all me, right? And so I started out with no credit. And then my credit was building, but I never had looked at like Equifax. I never looked at TransUnion. I never looked at any credit score places because I didn't even know what the hell. Like I never realized when I got my cell phone that it was something that would affect my credit. Like nobody tells you that, right? So I get my cell phone, I have this credit card, so now I have two things revolving on my credit bureau history or whatever. And I'm obviously making sure I pay my credit card, my cell phone, because I need to talk. I need a text. I got a BlackBerry. I can't be out here with no minutes or whatever the hell. So I'm making sure I pay my phone. But my credit card I'm really struggling with. Or sometimes I would put all the money on the credit card, then use the credit card to pay the phone. Because at that point, then everybody's happy, right? Until the next statement comes out. That's pretty much how I was living my life. Now I had the credit card from then. And then if I got it in 2010, then 2 years later, I end up in a relationship. And I still have my credit card. But the person that I was with didn't have no credit. Didn't have a credit card, and credit was really bad. And so when it came to credit, it was only my credit that would be used, right? So I end up one day, while this card is now maxed, so during this relationship my card gets maxed again, okay, because I don't know, being too generous, girl. I don't know what the hell I did, but it was a mess, okay? That's lesson number 3. Don't spend the credit. Don't use the credit card on no man, okay? Crazy behavior. Okay, unhinged behavior to use your credit card on somebody that has no credit or bad credit. Okay, don't do it. Okay, don't sign nothing for them. Don't do nothing. Don't spend the money on them. Tell them they need to give you the cash. Okay, then you can use your credit card to buy them something online. So this card is now maxed. Okay, maxed again. I thought I learned my lesson, but I didn't, right? And so the card is maxed, and the card gets maxed actually because I ended up moving out of my mom's house, right? So now I am, without a paddle. And I have now a $500 debt that I cannot pay because I am jobless. And so what is the next thing this dumb girl does? She goes to the Bay, her favorite store in the whole world. She goes to Hudson's Bay, and they offer her a credit card. And baby, you should have seen the look on mine and my boyfriend's face when they told me what I was approved for, because at the time my other credit card had just been like gone to delinquency, right? So, or was like on its way to delinquency. So my credit score at that time was decent enough, though I don't know what it was, to get me a credit card for my age for $1,500. So now I have $2,000 worth of credit. Yay! More shopping. When you get a credit card at the Hudson's Bay, they give you a receipt with the credit card number on it so that you can do some shopping in the store, because you also get like 15 or 25% off your first day with the card, right? So obviously you're going to shop. So me and him look at the receipt and we're like, eyes wide, bushy tailed, excited. $1,500, girl. Do you know in that time what I could do with $1,500? Shop. And that's exactly what we did. We was in the polo section. We was doing the most. Okay, we had $1,500 to spend. I think we probably spent like $500 of it first day. First day we spent $500 off the $1,500 credit card, like two idiots, okay? But this is where the white lady was in the store and she didn't change my life. So I was signing up for my Hudson's Bay credit card, and there was a white lady in the store also using her credit card, and she had said that she loves her Hudson's Bay credit card, and she says she never uses it unless she has the cash to put back on it right away. I don't know why this stuck with me, girl, but it did, okay? So she said that, and despite the fact that I was about to go on this $500 shopping spree, when she said that, it like struck something inside of me, right? And I was like, is that how you use a credit card? She said that's the only way to protect your credit and use your credit card properly. If you have the cash that day, because that's actually what happened. She had paid with the credit card and then said she wants to make a payment. And the same money that she spent, so say she spent like $400 at the beauty counter, she then took $400 out of her wallet and handed it to the Hudson's Bay people so that her card was then paid off. Now, I'm not Caucasian, and I certainly wasn't coming from no money, and I certainly didn't have $500 to put back onto the credit card after I spent that money on me and him. But at that point, it didn't matter. Okay, it didn't matter. I was getting new duds. I was shopping. Okay, we was gonna look good. Okay, so I have now, like I said, 2 credit cards. And shortly after I get this credit card and actually end up maxing it because I have a shopping problem. It's not funny. Shout out to all the girlies with the shopping problem. Because I end up getting this credit card and end up maxing it because at this point now I moved out and, you know, have to use my credit card pretty often, but I just got laid off, baby. I moved out and then got laid off. So I didn't have a lot of money circulating, but I then signed up for EI. So then I did have some money coming in. I was getting $500 every 2 weeks with EI because I had been laid off. So, you know, I had some money and I was able to, you know, make payments here and there. But maybe them cards was sitting in delinquency once I maxed them and heavily affecting my credit. Now, the other thing you don't realize about credit, because they don't teach us in the schools, is that if your credit is bad, you're going to have a hard time navigating Canada. You're going to have a hard time getting an apartment because they want to see your credit score. I never understood why this mattered. I think it's dumb as hell. I don't think it's fair. There's a housing crisis in Toronto. I was just watching a documentary about it. Not even in Toronto, in Ontario. I was just watching a documentary on it yesterday, actually, and how a lot of people are being displaced, ending up homeless, can't afford the rent because of the housing crisis. And so if you have bad credit, you're already 10 steps behind. You don't want bad credit in Canada or anywhere, okay? You don't want to have bad credit. Now, there's places in this world that don't even use credit. And so your credit score is a way for them to keep you at a certain level. And they know in certain communities, credit is shot, right? Your credit's bound to be bad, right? And that's why they put up these places like good credit, bad credit, no credit, we will get you your loan. But those are Ponzi schemes, and if you fall on hard times, you're going to be in trouble. It's pretty much the same as getting money from a damn loan shark. You don't want that smoke, right? So you're supposed to keep your credit in good standing, okay? And it's hard to build your credit back, girl. It's hard. But like I said, I ruined my credit because I had a cell phone that was with Fido, but then I decided I wanted iPhone. So I switched over to get my iPhone. And when I did that, because Rogers owned Fido, like Rogers pretty much bought me out, right? So they purchased me to come over to their side, even though they're the same company. But there was $20 that was unaccounted for, and that went to the credit bureau, girl. They had me in collections for $20 over Fido and Rogers, or the switch over. And that affected my credit. And so again, at this point still, I've never seen my Equifax. I don't even know what Equifax is at this point. I just know what spending money is. Thought I was a rapper. I'm spending this money. Now I'm delinquent with $20 on my phone bill. I'm delinquent with $500 TD student visa, which the interest on it was really, really, really low. Anyway, I have $2,000 worth of credit that is pretty much in collections because I couldn't afford to live, because now I'm living outside of my mom's house, and you know, feed myself, do all these things, pay bills. I realized I didn't have enough equity, girl. I didn't have enough money to pay my living expenses and pay money on my credit card, not even the minimum payment. And so that's why you have to really make sure you're not maxing out your cards, because you don't want that to happen to you, right? Like if you have a shopping problem, girl, nip it in the bud, okay? Get off of Amazon. Child, get off of Amazon. I know it's nice to open these packages, girl. I am still Amazoning it, okay, down. That's how I get my stuff, Amazon, girl. But like, girl, stay off of Amazon, okay? Anyway, I don't know who needs to hear that word, girl, but stay off of Amazon. Stay off of Amazon, get that credit card right. So pretty much, I'm now in debt because I can't afford to pay my credit cards. And what does she do? She digs herself further into the hole. Bo, are you down there? Can you hear me? Girl, I dug myself further into the hole. You know what I did? You know what I did before I even got on EI, actually? Was in between the time that my cards were maxed and I was pretty much about to be jobless, in between that time, Mama started doing payday loans, girl. I was doing payday loans because I really was, I couldn't make it scratch. I could not make my ends meet, and I am living with somebody else, and I can't make the cookie stretch. Okay, we are two people with jobs and we can't make the cookie stretch, and so I'm struggling, and I start taking out payday loans. He taking out payday loans, girl. We just trying to do everything we can for the money. But the thing with the payday loans is this high interest. So you take out $500, but in the 2 weeks when you get paid, you're gonna owe them like $530 or something like that. You're gonna owe them more money than you took out, right? And so I'm doing that back to back to back, because once you start the payday loans, girl, it's giving crack. You cannot stop. It's giving heroin, girl. You're on the payday loans, girl. And so you have to wean yourself off of it. I talked about this in another video, but that is also something that will affect your credit. And so what happened was I had taken out a payday loan, and then I lost my job and couldn't afford to pay the payday loan back because I'm not getting a paycheck in 2 weeks. I done lost my job. Okay, so now I have to really figure out what am I gonna do where the money's concerned. So like I said, I signed up for EI, and then once I signed up for EI and the payday loan place called me, they were like, hey, you were borrowing from us really frequently and paying us back. What happened? I'm like, I got laid off, baby. And they're like, okay, well, are you on employment insurance or anything like that? I was like, yeah. They're like, okay, well, we can make you a payment plan. And payment plans are great if you fall into delinquency. But we can make you a payment plan because we haven't shipped it off to credit bureau yet. Praise the Lord. Okay, we haven't shipped it off to credit bureau yet because we've contacted you now. What you can do is set up a payment arrangement with us, and we will, do what it do. So I said, okay, cool. So I did that. And so I think, and I could be wrong here, I'm not sure if it was once I had paid off the payday loan or if it was while I was doing a payment plan with them. But at some point, they allowed me to borrow again. But I knew that I didn't have the same income coming in, right? I think I was getting 70% or no, 50%, 40%, girl, I don't know. Whatever it was, I was getting employment insurance. And so I knew I couldn't borrow as much as I was borrowing before, but any money would help in my, new situation. So I start borrowing again from payday loans. I'm not paying my credit cards at all. Okay, so they is sitting and it's going 30 days delinquent, it's going 60 days delinquent, it's going 90 days delinquent, girl. It's just going and going and going, okay? And at this point, it's 2013, and I can't use my credit cards worth a damn. I think a couple times I had called Hudson's Bay and set up payment arrangements with them at that point because I was just I need to, I know my credit's being affected. I don't know what the score is, and at this point, I don't want to know the score, okay? So that entire time, I never knew what my credit score was, but I knew that it was being affected. And so since I knew that, I was trying to do my best to get my ducks in a row, because I knew that someday I was going to need my credit to be back in good standing. I'm not one of those people that are it's done, I'm just going to leave it like that. No, ma'am. I need my credit to be crediting, okay? So yeah, so I end up borrowing again. But when you borrow from the payday loan, in order to wean yourself off of it, which I've talked about before, like I said, is every time you go back and pay that interest on the loan that you took out, you need to take out a lesser amount every single time you go back, and then you'll be done with it. So the week that you take out the $500 and then you go back and pay it to that time, you would pay back the $535 or whatever the interest was. But then when they ask you if you want to borrow again, you say yes, but I only want $400 this time. And then the next time you come back, they're going to make you pay for something. And then you say, I only want $300 this time. And then you pay $3 something when you come back. and then you're like, I only want $200 this time. And so that way you get to be in control of your cash flow again, okay? And so you do take a loss, right? But you have to take that loss to regain control of your money. Having control of your money is super duper important, okay? Like, you don't want somebody else to be in control of your money. When you're taking out payday loans, they are in control of your money. When you have credit cards and you have more credit, or you're paying more on your credit card than is in your savings account, the people that are giving you the credit cards are in control of your money and how you spend your money. And like, you don't want to live like that. That's why people end up living check to check to check to check, because we don't have the tools or the resources to guide us and say, like, this is how you use your credit card. Don't do this. Be smart, blah, 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 blah. And I get it. Sometimes we fall in hard times, but you really have to know, like, what is stupid when dealing with using your credit card. Like, if you know your paycheck, girl, is only $1,000 and your credit card is $3,000, do not go spending the $3,000. You shouldn't even spend $500 on the credit card, because you don't want to take your paycheck of $1,000 and have to put $500 of it back onto your credit card, because this is not free money. You have to pay it back, period. Okay? So yeah. So fast forward, I get off of payday loans, okay, get off the crack. I'm off the crack now, but I still have this debt looming, girl, and it's been years now. Like, I got the first card I got in like 2010, the next card I got in like 2012, 2013 or whatever. And now I have this $2,000 debt that's collecting interest, and the interest on the Hudson's Bay card was like 29% at first, and then when you make your first purchase outside of the store, I think it dropped down to 22 or something like that, right? And so that is high interest. It's not the student card, baby. I have this high interest on this card. I'm not paying it, so it's just piling. Then, to make matters worse, somehow 2 cell phones ends up becoming a $2,000 bill, okay? And at this point, I have moved out of the basement apartment with the Chinese landlord, and I had gone back to Ajax, and I have this $2,000 phone bill. Rogers wants their money. I have $2,000 worth of cards that I can't even use, okay? That is a debt. And so my credit is being shot, baby. My credit is turning into bad credit. At this point, I don't know what to do. And so, you know, this is when certain things were introduced to me and was like, you know, you got to get it how you live or whatever, or the marrying for money story time. Like, I was in real debt, you know, and so that's why when you're in those places where money's concerned and you're desperate, you might do anything, right? So I'm trying to pay off these bills, girl, and I'm struggling. And so at that point, got a little bit of money here and a little bit of money there, started doing odd jobs, okay? Like, I was doing the weirdest jobs ever, getting odd jobs to try to make a little bit of money to start trying to at least pay the payment arrangements for these credit cards, because I am like swimming in debt and I'm only 20, like, or how old was I? 21? Girl, I don't know. I was really young though, and I was like so stressed about money because, one, I really like to work and I like to make money, and I obviously like to have nice things. And so being in a place where you seem to no longer be able to afford nice things is hard, right? And so fast forward, I get the job at the collection agency, and in that job I learned so much about credit. I'm so glad that I got that job. As interesting as the job was, I'm so glad I got it, because I learned so much about credit that was not taught to me. But also, working at that job, I had a gentle approach to collecting the money that really worked. You know, I was able to always set up these payment arrangements even for really big accounts. And so based on that, it also let me know when a collection agency calls you, there's no reason for them to be acting crazy on the phone, because everybody knows you fall in hard times. But I feel like the people that work at the collection agencies, they act like they ish don't stink. They act like they never had a fell on bad times a day in their life, you know, like that's how they move, right? And so they talk to the people crazy on the phone, and sometimes you call people and people are threatening. Girl, people are doing the most when you call them and you're telling them like, hi, you have a $3,000 credit card that needs to be paid. They start telling you their sob stories. They start telling you their child is disabled. They start telling you all these things. And it's just like, I understand that, but we don't want you to go further delinquent. So can you please set up a payment arrangement with us so that blah, 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 blah. Okay, like I said, I had a real gentle approach. Okay, I'm not going to be on the people on the phone cussing them out when I know they had issues. And I think also that's a part of the reason why I went through what I went through with my own credit, because the people had called my phone being real disrespectful, and I'm not going for that. Okay, I'm not going for that. You're not going to get your money that way. You're just not. I don't care. My credit's already shot. What do I care? You are trying to collect the money from me, baby. I don't have to answer the phone, but I've answered it. And so if you're going to be disrespectful, y'all remember Armando. If you're going to be disrespectful, you're not going to collect the check, right? So be nice. I think because of my own experience, or knowing that I had too fallen on hard times, when I started collecting, I had to have that approach. I had to give people grace, you know? So I get that job, and that was the last job that I had before I moved to Ottawa, right? At that point, I'm making steady income, and I was making commissions. So at this point, I'm able to pay some money onto the credit cards, but I still can't pay them off. And now they are not active, right? Like the cards are not active, but I still gotta pay this debt off. So I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do?
What the hell we gonna do now?
That was me. And so, you know, I tried to make as much money as I could before I left Toronto for good. And then I moved to Ottawa. And so at that point, when I moved to Ottawa, I was still homeless, right? I was living in like a shelter. And now I'm homeless and jobless, but I got a job within 7 days of moving to Ottawa. And so I knew I made the right move, blah, blah, blah. You guys already know that. Even though I got a job and it was a supervisor position and I was making steady income, it still wasn't enough money to pay off my credit card. And so about a month after I moved to Ottawa, I found a rental apartment, a 1-bedroom with a den. You know, I'm still working my 9 to 5. I'm still going to Shoppers Drug Mart every day, because baby, I'm not the type of person that's gonna quit one steady thing and just be trying to do the YouTube thing, because my YouTube was making pennies, baby. Like, I would have to literally, to get a YouTube check cut at that time, I would have to wait like 4 months for my threshold to meet $100, because that's what YouTube does. Like, you have to make at least $100 to get your payout. So it would be sitting there like $58 and I'm like, I just need another $50 and then they're gonna pay me, right? But like, you have to make $100. So I would be posting videos, you know, I would be waking up, filming, going to work, and then coming home and filming, and really just pouring my all into YouTube. Though it wasn't making a lot of money, I just really enjoyed making the content, so I just made the content. And sure enough, I end up posting, you know, my first story time in the shelter place that I live. Filmed the story time, I post it, and my channel starts getting traction. I see that my subscriber count's growing like astronomically. I'm like, what the hell? Okay, and so I'm watching it grow, but I'm still not making a decent amount of money. I guess change of atmosphere happens, right? So we move into the first apartment, and I continue making story times because I see that the view count is counting. Okay, like the people are coming to see and hear the stories. Like, you know, this is good content. So there's two story times I filmed in the shelter. My Deadbeat Dad, the pastor, was filmed there, and the Mexico story time with the cocaine, that story was filmed in that shelter, right? And so it's like those stories are so monumental, or those stories are monumental into, you know, who I am today, but also the place that I filmed them in. Like, you guys would not know that that was a shelter, right? And that's how bad of a hole I was in, that I was homeless in a shelter, had no money, girl. Like, I was really broke. Not only was I broke, but I was broke and homeless, girl. I was not winning, okay? Shout out to Jesus. So I was just feeling like, oh my God, you know? And so I moved into the 1-bedroom, like I said, and I'm still pumping out content, you know, going to Shoppers Drug Mart every day, working my butt off and putting out videos. And then I think my first high check was like $900, and I was like, YouTube made $900, oh my God. And so right away, the first thing I did was focus on the credit cards, because I already had a job, right? So now I'm working 2 jobs. Praise the Lord. I'm working 2 jobs, and my income from Shoppers Drug Mart was enough to live off of. So I could now take this money that I was making on YouTube to pay off this debt. So the first thing I do is pay the $500 credit card, right? What? So I paid it in full. Okay, I was like, oh my god, it's only at like 560, 575, girl, I don't remember. So I paid that off in full. The creditor's like, thank you. They don't see that often. People don't usually call me like, I want to pay the whole thing off. What's the account number, blah, 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 blah. People usually call like, I need to set up a payment plan, and they give you your money bit by bit, girl. $12.95 for 12 months, girl. Like, that's what people be doing, right? I paid it off in full, and I was so happy because it was such a stressor, okay? It took me from 2010 to 2016, you're not hearing me, 6 years to pay off $500, girl. 6 years to pay off $500? Are you serious?
Unacceptable condition!
I don't know what the hell was going on. So I paid that card, and then I was like, you know, if that's what my YouTube is doing, I had faith that the next month I would do double that, right? And she did. So the next month, I think I made like $2,000 something. Baby, I was feeling generous, girl. I was sending my mama money. I paid off the $1,500 credit card. At that point, that credit card was like maybe 18, 19. You know, it was pretty high. So I paid off that one. I think I might have paid that one in 2 payments. So I didn't pay it in full because I needed to make money stretch, okay? So I paid that credit card off. I started paying that credit card, but I split it into 2 payments to make it more manageable for myself. And obviously Hudson's Bay was very happy to get their money back, okay, or whoever bought it from them. And then, you know, the next month I paid it again. I finished paying it off, and I'm like relieved, baby. And I'm doing all this on my own. Like, I'm paying all this money on my own, even though I didn't spend it by myself, girl. But I felt like the cards are in my name, so I need to pay it off because it's only my credit that's been affected, okay? So I gotta pay this off. It's my responsibility. I shouldn't have spent the money the way I did. Like, you know, I paid it by myself. So then the Rogers bill had already been set up for payment arrangements, and that bill, I think retention gave me some grace, and they slashed the bill a bit for me because I was like, look, either y'all I mean, I ain't got no money, I ain't got no job, y'all want your money, let's set up a payment arrangement. But that payment arrangement had been set up from like 2014, right? So that debt got squared off like in the middle of all this craziness. But keep in mind, because I have stuff in delinquency and wasn't paying for so long, my credit score was dropping astronomically and putting me in the poor credit zone. So now that I've paid off the debts, though, it's going to boost my credit a little bit. How much? Not a lot, okay? Not a lot, because it was too late at that point. I had to do a lot to rebuild my credit. So then, fast forward, now I have no debt because of YouTube, because of y'all watching my videos. Oh my god, I'm so in love with you guys. So literally, like, YouTube actually changed my life. Like, y'all don't really understand how much of my life was changed because of YouTube. And so that's why I'm so appreciative of you guys. That's why I actually like interact with you guys, because y'all really like, y'all showed up and showed out for your girl, okay? I really needed you guys in that time. I still need you. I needed you guys in that time, and like, oh my god, if it wasn't for God blessing me with this YouTube channel, girl, and y'all just showing up and showing out the way that you have over the years, like, I don't know what the hell, girl. I would still be trying to pay off $2,000 in credit card debt. Literally. So, you know, I pay off this debt, and I vow to myself, I am never gonna let myself get back into that place. And the thing that the white lady said to me, it stuck for the next time I was going to get a credit card. Because you know, her saying, if you don't have the cash to put back on the card right away, don't spend the money, it was like a futuristic lesson. Like, it was foreshadowing, because the next time that I signed up for a credit card, my credit was so bad, I had to get a Capital One card, which was like a prepaid MasterCard, or like a secured funds MasterCard. So, sorry, is it MasterCard? Yeah. So pretty much Capital One is really good for that, where you can get a secure credit card and you pay a certain amount of money, and then they give you like $300 worth of credit. but they report to credit bureau. And so I got that card when I was getting a car, because the people at the car dealership told me that's how you're going to build your credit. And baby, I'm glad I took the advice, because they gave me a car and I said I need to fix this credit, because they were looking at my credit like, how are we supposed to get this lady a car, you know? And so I needed a co-signer at first because of the car that I wanted, but then I just, you know, humbled myself and said I'll get there one day, you know. So I'm gonna just get the car that is not going to make me have to get a co-signer. So my Jeep dreams were out the window, girl, but I realized, you know, I need a vehicle, so I'm gonna just get a cute car, and that's what I need, right? So I humbled myself, and I got the car that I could afford without a co-signer, but I couldn't get a loan. That's how bad my credit was. I couldn't get a loan from a reputable bank. I had to get a loan from one of them side roundaway banks, the loan shark banks, right? Like those people, the lenders, they're not even a bank. So I couldn't get like a TD or a Scotiabank or even an RBC. Like I couldn't get a car loan from one of those banks because my credit was so bad, and the person that I was with obviously couldn't co-sign for me either because his credit was worse than mine. So it was like, you're damned if you do, you damned if you don't. So I got like a crappy loan, but I was making sure to pay my car note on time. I didn't miss a payment, I didn't miss my insurance, and then I didn't miss my Capital One card. And so I was so good with the Capital One card, the secured one, that they took me out of the secured zone. Okay, they gave me a way better card after the fact because I was so good at paying it. Every little while they were like, you got a raise, girl, you get a raise, and you get a raise, and you get. They kept raising my limit, and I was like, ah. And so I had a lot of money, but I had a really good job, and I was responsible at that point because I had learned how to manage the credit. And oh my God, the grace of God, girl. And so because I had learned to manage the credit and I knew what I was doing now, I knew I wasn't going to make the same mistakes that I had made before. So those were all really just learning lessons or lessons for me to learn, so that when God blessed me with an abundance of cash flow, I would know how to use it and steward it and like not dig myself into a hole. Actually, before that even happened, so before I get the car and the new Capital One card, my YouTube had taken off. My credit was bad still, but I wanted to get a bigger house because I was taking my work even more serious now. I needed a 2-bedroom, girl, because I needed somewhere to film, right? Somewhere where we wouldn't hear any noise in the background. So I needed a 2-bedroom, and I went looking for a 2-bedroom, but my credit was 490. 490. Do you know how bad that is? So that was the first time that I saw my credit score, because the rental property said that they needed to see my Equifax credit report. And so I was like, damn. But at the same time, I'm like, well, I'm making a lot of money. Like, these people are not about to play with me, but they did. So I bring my credit report and I tell the guy that I'm about to rent from, or that I want to rent from, that like, I know my credit's really bad, but this is, you know, the money that I make and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, well, you do make good money, but like the credit score, why is it so bad? And I'm like, why is that any of your concerns, sir? Like, mind your damn business. I was young and dumb. Like, you know what I mean? And so I explained it to him the best I can, but he's like, I can't rent to you, girl. Your credit's horrible. What does my credit have to do with being able to afford the property, sir? And that's why it's a scam and a scheme set up by Todd. Because, like, why do you need to know that I have good credit? Like, this bad credit business is not proof that I cannot pay rent. I gotta have a roof over my head. So I'm not about to play with the roof over my head. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you guys are judging people based off of old news. Fake news even, right? Like, you don't know why somebody's credit might have been bad at one point and they're trying to rebuild it, you know? But he didn't care about none of that, girl. He was like, I can't rent to you, your credit's too low, blah, blah, blah. But that was a blessing in disguise, because then I found, that was a basement apartment. Then I went to go see this other house. Nobody had rented it before, you know, that's, you guys have seen the house because I lived there for 5 years, but nobody had rented it before. You know, the landlord was living there, he owned the place, and then he fell on hard time, so he couldn't afford it anymore, and he's like, I gotta rent this out. So I went to see him and I said, baby, look, I'm not gonna hold you. This is how much money I make. This is the proof that I make this much money. My credit is crap. I've already been denied a place, but I'm telling you right now, you can talk to my landlord that I have right now. I do not pay my rent. I've never missed my rent payment. I don't play about my rent. So please just, rent me the place or whatever. And, by God's grace, he definitely did. I was steady with those payments. I don't play about my rent, girl. But in Canada, like, your rent can't really affect your credit. Like, it takes a lot for your rent to affect your credit, even though they like won't give you an apartment if your credit is bad. Like, it doesn't really affect your credit how it might in the States, right? So like, it's not really something that you see on your credit history, like a revolving rent payment. No, your landlord's not reporting to the credit bureau. Maybe some are, but Chad, none of the houses that I ever lived at, right? Being delinquent in your rent can't really affect your credit, but it can get you evicted, right? So my mom had always, at least she gave me this good advice, girl. She said, don't play about your rent, don't play about your bills, then don't play about your groceries. Okay, like, you gotta always have a roof over your head and make sure that rent is paid. My mama said that to me and it stuck, and I never played about my rent. Then the bills as well. Pay your bills. You need light, you need gas. Don't play about that stuff, okay? And then if you have money left over, buy you some snacks. But like, that's how she raised me. That's what she instilled in me. Anyway, I didn't get the apartment because my credit was so bad. Then I get this other place. The place is great, it's really big and nice and spacious or whatever. I have no debt anymore. So now I can actually just focus on building my credit. And so the way that I did that was through paying my car note, paying my Capital One card. Okay, so get you one of those. And that helped build my credit fast, okay? Like, super duper fast. And then just being on time with the rest of my bills, whatever I got, I took out. And then when I felt comfortable, I took out more credit cards because I was comfortable and could afford to pay them and blah 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 blah. And so I think if you don't take anything else from this video, don't play about your credit. Okay, don't be doing silly things. Don't be spending no money on no man. Don't do none of that. Okay, make sure you're paying your bills on time. And if you dig yourself into a hole, make a plan to dig yourself out of that hole. Okay, and it will be done. Pray about it, girl. Okay, because I was praying about it. I was for sure praying about it, and I was finally able to get my ducks in a row. I went from $490. It took a little while, chat, but I went from $490 to $800. So it's like, you gotta get your ducks in a row. I personally would never consolidate my credit, but if that's what's going to help you get to a better place, then you do that. Do the research and then sign up for consolidation. But if you can manage to budget and pay off what you need to pay off, then that's better for you. I think a credit card is really great to have, especially in North America. But like, if you are bad with money, period, probably not in your best interest to get a credit card. Or if you have a spending problem, like if you have a shopping problem, or like if you're not even able to save cash, right? Because if you at least have a savings, then when you do use your credit card, or if you fall on hard times and lose your job and can't really afford things how you used to, at least you can use your savings to keep you afloat. I was living life just raw dogging it. I didn't have a savings. I didn't know how to save. I wasn't making enough money to save, girl. I had more debt than I had paycheck coming in. So it was hard for me to save and make a living or live comfortably until I got a steady job. And my job is not even steady. My job is so unsteady because I'm an entrepreneur. Like, my job is so risky, there's no safety net for me. So I have to make sure that I save, right? I got kids. Like, I can't be playing with money in this day and age. I am not 21. So I have to always make sure that I'm doing, the best that I can and making sure that everybody's straight. But like, girl, that first credit card will mess up your credits. It'll mess up your life, how you spend, how you see money. Like, I had to go through all those things to understand money properly. And then, once I got older and could talk to my mom about credit, she taught me so much too. And so I love the way that she manages her credit, and I love the way that she was taught by her mom to do that, right? She learned from her mom, because my mom had been in some holes, child. I'm not gonna spill her tea, child, but life happens, right? And so my grandma, the one that passed away, she really instilled in my mom how to move and maneuver with the credit. And so my mom has really done the same for me. and made sure that, you know, my credit got back to where it needed to be, right? So shout out to her for that. But yeah, I love you all so much. In the comment section below, tell me a time you fell on hard times, girl, from spending money that you knew you shouldn't spend, girl. Your last $5 on that McDonald's. Tell me about it in the comment section below. I love you all so much, and I will definitely see you in the next one.